To look at people as a group, you might think they look all the same, they're all wearing the same uniform, but there are lots of subtle differences that people employ to perhaps show off the fact they've got a certain amount of experience or been in certain places. So in the Royal Marines, the mountain leaders who are an elite organisation within an elite might wear a particular type of boot, mountain sort of boot that just indicates that that's their branch. People from the landing craft branch might wear a particular type of knife that they've been given at the finish of their course. And if you've been in particular units, you might wear your beret in a certain sort of way. Yeah, colours are really important. Every unit will have its own colours. There's a long tradition in all the British military units, and whatever unit you're in, you'll probably know the history of the colours. The colours were specifically a set of flags that you carried into battle and that were protected on the battlefield, and that people would sometimes die to protect.
I come from a military family, specifically Navy, but I was a bit of a wild child as a youngster, and I wanted to rock the boat, so to speak, and I went and joined the army. Wanted to get away from the home life. You know, I'd grown up around the Falklands, the first Iraq War, bits and pieces like that, and I thought, you know, there's the romance that goes with it, and there's the sense of belonging and the sense of adventure that goes along with all that, and I wanted to experience and be part of that. If the public understood that we choose to join whatever service we join, generally not to go to war, but more of a job or as an occupation or as a secure future, we choose to do that for a living, but everybody votes, they vote for that government, we do the bidding of the government of the day, so actually we do the job that they, or the government that they have voted for, are asking us to do.
I served in the WRAF, or Women's Royal Air Force as it was in those days, as a fighter controller, which was part of air defence during the Cold War. And many people were unaware at the time, but we would have Russian aircraft going over, attempting to go over, enter our airspace every night, and we would send fighters up to ward them off. So I felt very much on the front line at the time. Well, it was very interesting getting involved in this project and reading about the Plains Indians, and it brought immediately to mind a remark that Jeremy Paxman made a long time ago about the military being an unknown tribe, because people now rarely have experience of the Second World War or National Service, and so people don't know very much about the military. I thought, right, I'll make some unknown tribal blankets. Once that you have taken your oath of loyalty to the Crown, to the Queen, then whatever you do is to honour the country, but also to yourself as well. You have a tremendous sense of honour and the way you behave and a code of values.
regimental colours and the sovereign's colours, 2 flags. And the regimental colours would have all the battle honours back through history that battalion had earned. And they're not to be touched. They're on display usually in the officers' mess, and they would only be touched by the duty officer today to unfurl them and pack them. And if those colours were parading around camp, going from one place to another for some reason, every soldier that it passed of any rank would have to stop and salute those colours. I think status is 2 things within the military. You can have the status of your rank, whatever rank that might be, from lance corporal up to general. But you can earn status without rank through your deeds, through the way you conduct yourself in duties.
I can give you an example from my own experience, which was being given a set of rosary beads, little St. Christopher on it, from an aunt of mine, just as I was deploying to Bosnia in the early 90s, and then that sort of wore it as a bit of a joke almost, but you then sort of felt that it had sort of it helped you along somehow, and I would have felt extremely uncomfortable if I lost it or had to leave it behind, I think.
There are the issued things that you get from whichever force you're serving in, but then you can personalise that in a very, very small way. Because I've never been to war, if ever I was captured, I wanted to make sure I had a pack of playing cards, which I waterproofed with lots and lots of tape in case I went into the sea. So that if I was pulled out and put in a camp somewhere, then I'd still be able to unwrap these cards and still be able to play cards. This is long before these electronic games and things like that people have. We carried letters as well because there was no computers back then, so there was no internet and no emails. And so the last letter that we got, always made sure that we had that was a link. I also carried a beer mat from a local Nottingham brewery because that's where I was from. You wanted to die with the picture of your family with you and the last letter that you had. And these arbitrary, small, non-meaning things to anybody else, but they carry a power. You have a link with your past, with the beer mat. It was as simple as that, and a link with the present, as near to the present as possible, with the letters that you were getting, and a link to the future with this pack of playing cards that are wrapped up in plastic and tape.
We call it swinging a lantern, or to spin a dit, or pull up a sandbag, because it's mainly done when, after a ceremony of some sort. So there'll be a get together in the mess, or if you're a junior ranks club, and it'd be a coming together of guys who have been or have experienced, or guys of experience, who will then start to tell their stories over a beer or over a drink, and then as the beer starts to sink, then the bragging rights start to come out. That sort of comes into play, where you fit in the social status. Is he some big hard man, or is he some weakling who's not worth anything? He's sat in a corner hiding. But most of it's recorded. So you've got media, social media, you've got the news, because it's recorded in such a way that is not so much a need for anyone to write it down or to draw or to make artifacts.
The power of writing, the power of being able to express myself through poetry, as it's like putting things into a soluble form that people can understand more easily, and take away really the pain of trying to explain the depth of what happened in it, rather than reliving it. If you express it through art, writing, drawing, painting, or poetry, then you're giving people it in a soluble form that they can digest more easily. I found it very, very hard. I left the Marines in 1981, and I've worked all my life since then. It was only when I stopped work that I found that the memories started coming back, and as they started coming back, they got worse and more vivid. Then they started visiting me at night in my dreams, and I started having daytime flashbacks. I've actually seen dead people looking at me through my window, and these things become really scary.
There's always the homecoming parade. You know, once the medals have been minted and then they're issued, there's then the get together, the formality. You stand there on parade, families are invited, local public's invited, and obviously it's a way of giving thanks, one, to those that have not come home or those that have been injured, two, to the public that have supported you throughout, so especially the local, normally the local area. And everyone will go and celebrate that in their own way after that, whether that be in a bar, you know, or down a club, or, you know, some people just would rather go home and use it to close the door, I suppose. It's to close the door.
Homecoming from the military, it's not good. It's mainly from the point of view of, I think there should be some kind of halfway house or something, because you spend all that time in that environment. And then you come back and you see everybody sort of the right shaped peg for their hole, so you try to be that shape and it just doesn't happen. You just don't fit properly. It takes a long time to get back into things again. because you rely on them so much, 24 hours a day when you're there. It's very much a family atmosphere, very close. And unless you've been in that environment, you won't really get it. So I think that's why a lot of people, when they come out, they seek a similar camaraderie in something else. Sort of with me, because I've always had a motorcycle. You just try and find a substitute squad, really. But you get there eventually.
The fragmented nature of Western, not just UK, but Western society and culture as a whole has broken down some of perhaps the tribal and extended family and community approaches and rites of passage that we might have had at one time, and actually helped guys to reconcile their experiences and adjust when they come back home, because life is going on as normal in the UK whilst guys are being killed, injured, having traumatic experience, life-changing experiences, halfway across the world.
We have groups of ladies who come from a group that makes quilts, and they've started to make quilts for soldiers who have been injured. So for my battalion, if we do have a soldier who's injured or a bereaved family, we know we can ring them and they will spend many, many hours producing a beautiful blanket quilt.
One of the best aspects of being in the services, especially for me because I was in the Royal Navy, was the opportunity to travel to many countries, 54 at the last count. And I'm certainly not defined by all the conflicts I've been in. I've been in quite a few. The defining aspect for me was the education I got of meeting people from different cultures. And what I found immediately was what connected us rather than what separated us. And it was amazing to know that no matter where you go in the world, people are all the same. We've all got the same ability to empathise, to be compassionate, to love, to survive, to progress in life, make the most out of our lives.
I found the connection much easier to make than I'd expected, although I'd not put any great thought into it until we started looking at the items on my first visit here. And I wouldn't really call myself a warrior, but now my view of a warrior is different. It is not somebody who goes screaming in to kill as many people as he can, and there's more background to it. There is more status, ethos, spiritualism, regimental history, and I think that's perhaps what makes the warrior, not his immediate fearful deeds, but who he is and where he comes from and what he takes or she takes in their hearts as important to them for their military life.